In this crazy world, it's so hard to unwind. So I'm taking time just for me. Gonna find my peace, let my soul be free. In the quiet moments, that's where I'll find a little room to breathe and leave it all behind. Give me room to breathe, I need some time to heal my heart, to clear my mind. Gonna love myself, yeah, I believe in the power of me. Just give me room to breathe.
Great new day to all my self-care friends and family. Welcome back to another Room to Breathe podcast. I am your host, Life Coach 614, and I am so happy that you've made space to be here with us today. Now, before we get into this episode, do me a quick favor. If you're feeling the vibe, go ahead and show us some love. Tap the screen, like, comment, but most importantly, be sure to share this out with someone who may need a little healing energy today. And if this is your first time here or you haven't already done so, make sure you give us a follow. Subscribe to our channel so that way you're always tapped in when a new episode drops. I also want to personally invite you to check out our digital home at theselfcareclub.org, where you will find everything from affirmative apparel to motivational merch, as well as a ton of free resources to remind you that you don't have to do this alone. We are healing in community, growing one breath, one moment, one day at a time. So today, I encourage you to give yourself permission to pause, to reflect, and to make space for peace, for growth, but most importantly, for you. And if anything in today's episode hits home, be sure to drop a green heart in the chat. That is our community's way of saying I am healing, I am growing, and I am showing up for me. Now, let's get ready to breathe, reflect, and grow together. Before we begin, family, I do want to also just take a moment to care for you. Today's conversation includes discussions of domestic violence, emotional abuse, and the ongoing impact of trauma. Now, we will not be sharing graphic details, and we will not center harm, but we will speak honestly about lived experiences, healing, and faith. So please feel free to pause, take breaks, or return to this episode when your spirit feels ready. Your well-being always comes first here. And remember, this story is not for shock value. This story is told for truth, awareness, and hope. In this space, we believe that survivors deserve dignity, agency, and the freedom to share only what feels safe. We don't glorify pain, and we don't give power to harm. Instead, we center the process of becoming, the quiet strength that it takes to walk away, to heal in real time, and to trust God with the parts of yourself that are still finding their footing. Now, with all of that said, family, I want you to help me welcome in Annette to the Room to Breathe. Hey, Queen, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am great. Thank you so much for asking. I know that you're more new to our Room to Breathe family, so I'm just going to let you know before we get started with any stories, we like to check in with the soul. So I'm going to ask you, how is your spirit doing today?
Honestly, I'm feeling really good today. I went to a Bible study, so that was very uplifting.
Yes. Listen, I think Bible study is always amazing it's like just, what do I want to say? Like a good refresh, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I always feel like you get the word that you needed that you didn't know you needed.
Definitely.
Yeah. So that's amazing. And I'm glad that you had that opportunity this afternoon. So yeah. I guess before we really get into your story and before we look back, I want to honor where you are right now. I think that it is important that we focus on, where we are now before we kind of delve into what it took to get us here. And so I want to ask you, who is Annette in this season of her life as a woman, a mother, and a believer?
That is a good question. I feel like she's someone who's learning, growing every day. I don't really know. I don't know.
Yeah, listen, and maybe I can jump in and help, having been, in this rebuilding season. You're a work in progress, right? You're a masterpiece and a work in progress. And so, yeah, I don't think that that you being at a loss for words is a bad thing, because you're still evolving. You're in a season of becoming. And so sometimes that just looks a little weird. You're like, I'm just here. It's like,
that's it. Like, I'm just here, but I know I'm doing amazing.
Yeah, that's good. I think that, just that awareness that shows that you're grounded in the present, because a lot of times I think when we have the answer to that, like right away, we're past that initial part of the new season. You know what I mean? So I think that, having spoken with you before, and everybody will learn as we get into this story, I think that you are entering a season of becoming. And so this is like uncharted waters. So you're like, well, I know I'm a mom. I know I'm, you know what I mean? But I took those away from the beginning. So you're like, dag, what am I now? Yeah. So yeah, you're a woman finding herself.
Definitely.
And that's always an amazing thing. So listen, I'm here for it. And I always like to start here, because I believe that your story doesn't begin with pain. You know what I mean? Like, we go through a lot of pain in life, but I don't think that our stories really begin with pain. It begins with who we are. And so maybe this question will land a little better. When you look at yourself today, what are you most proud of? Not because of what you survived, but because of who you're becoming.
For me, I feel like what I'm most proud of is that, like, I didn't give up, if that makes sense. Like, I kept going.
Yeah.
I got up every day and I did it. I didn't give up. I didn't lose myself. I feel like that's something I'm, like, extremely proud of, because at one point I swear I was losing my mind.
Yeah. And that is something really, truly to be proud of, because a lot of times when we experience any type of trauma, it's the end. You know what I mean? And some people get stuck in that. So even though they may still be, living, breathing, walking amongst us, I feel like sometimes we get stuck in that land of what I call the Walking Dead. I don't know if you ever got into that series, but where we just are walking around off of muscle memory. You know what I mean? Where it's like, we get stuck in our trauma. And then at some point our trauma defines us. So that's 100% something to be proud of, especially as you're transitioning into a new season, where you're saying, what, I'm not going to let this define me. It's not who I am. It's what was happening to me in that season, but it's not who I am. So yeah. And so as we hold who you are now, I do want to, take a moment to gently step back into the chapter that shaped so much of your growth. And, we'll move at a pace that is comfortable for you. I know previously when you and I spoke, you shared that you survived a domestic violence relationship. In whatever way that feels safe for you, how would you describe that season of your life?
I would describe it like a roller coaster. Some days were good, and then some days were bad. And then some days were like, oh Lord, hold on. Take the wheel.
Yeah.
So, I would definitely describe it as a roller coaster. One that I definitely do not want to ride again. Like, I would skip that one.
Hey, you're like 10 out of 10. Don't recommend this ride to anybody. Okay.
Like, just keep walking. Walk past that roller coaster.
Yeah. And I think that so many people have, misconceptions about what abuse actually looks like, especially when it doesn't start out loud or obvious. Because in my opinion, I think it rarely starts off that way. I think that having my own fair share of, DV relationships, I'm like, they all start off sweet. It's like they send their representative in, and then after a while they start, what is it, like kind of grooming or conditioning you to see how far they can go in situations. And so again, for me, in my experience, I just know that it doesn't always start off bad. I guess I'll say it like that, or it doesn't look loud or obvious, they show up really great, out for everybody else, but they're horrible to us in the house or things like that. So I'm curious, what do you wish that people understood about how domestic violence shows up, particularly, for young women who believe that they're in love?
I'm definitely a people pleaser.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm the type of person that, like, I want to please you. I want to help you. I want to do these things. So it's going to come off as somebody who, like, you think you can fix.
Yeah.
And from there, it's like, you got to realize, oh no, you can't fix them. But as someone, as a teen, like, you're going to think that you can fix them. First of all, you're already thinking you're an adult, you're doing your own thing. But in reality, you can't fix that person.
Right.
People just need, like, the way, like what it'll show up. It's going to show up as a fairy tale, like, someone understanding you, someone wanting to listen to you, someone being there. Like, it shows up like something you always dreamed of, in a way. Yeah. In a way. But don't ignore the red flags for it. Like.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. It's like it's everything you thought you wanted.
Yeah, and I feel like as a young, like, you know what the red flags are, but you don't know what the red flags are, if that makes sense. Like, of course you're going to know, like, okay, this person shouldn't treat me like this. This person shouldn't talk to me like this. But then in the back of your mind, at the same time, you're like, they're learning, they're growing, you want to give them the benefit of the doubt. But that's some things you shouldn't ignore. Yeah.
I think that is a very common thing. We think that, or we convince ourselves it's not that bad, especially if you've had some other trauma growing up, or maybe if you didn't live in the healthiest environment growing up. This seems better than that. And I think that's what we make the mistake of a lot of times in relationships. Oh, well, this one's not that bad. For some, people, they're like, oh, well, he's not hitting me. This last relationship, he put his hands on me. So you withstand verbal abuse because it's not physical abuse. And then you get into a next one and, okay, he's not yelling at me. He's not hitting me, but now he's psychologically or emotionally abusing me. You know what I mean? So it's just like we trade one for the other. Or like my mom would say, you went from the grease to the frying pan,
Right.
Yeah. And I think that for many survivors, clarity doesn't come at all at once, right? That realization, or finally those red flags, start to make sense in just little moments. Was there a moment, big or small, when something inside of you realized this isn't love and this isn't safe?
Honestly, I feel like the one memory that's, like, always, like, lives rent free in my head, that made me like, okay, this isn't love, this isn't safe. It's one of the times where we got into it and I had accidentally unhooked the Ethernet cord to his to the game system. Mm-hmm. And I was changing my son's diaper at that time, and then he full-blown attacked me while I was changing his diaper. Like, that's one of the moments that just, like, where it clicked, like, this isn't love, this isn't safe. But I did not leave at that time.
Yeah.
I did not leave at that time. But that's one of the moments where it made me realize, like, okay, this isn't love, this definitely isn't safe. It's not safe for me, it's not safe for my child.
Yeah. And I noticed, like you said, you didn't leave at that time. I think that leaving is often talked about as like a single decision, but it's rarely that simple. I think anybody who has been in a situation similar to this can attest to the fact that, don't get me wrong, some people leave the first sign of danger, and I'm proud of them. Amen. But I also don't shame people who don't feel like they're ready to leave yet, or they're not confident enough to leave yet. Because again, like I said, I really think it's rarely that simple. For you, knowing that it took some time for you to maybe get the courage to do so, what made walking away so difficult, even when you knew deep down inside it was necessary?
For me, it was just like I always wanted like that, that family, that 2-parent household. Like, I always wanted a family. I always wanted a 2-parent household. I always wanted to have that love. Like, I wanted my son to experience that, especially when I found out I was pregnant. Like, and I got pregnant early on in the relationship, like 7 months with like in it, and it was just like, yeah, this is bad, but it's better than being alone. Yeah. It's better than being a single mom and trying to figure it out and make it work on my own.
Yeah, and I think that again, I feel like that resonates with a lot of people, because there is this fear. And sometimes the fear is not what we're actually enduring in the relationship. It is that fear of the unknown. What would I look like, like in your case, as a single mom? What does life look like knowing that, okay, even as a single mom, I still have to deal with his dad at some point, or, you know what I mean? Things like that. Yeah. So it's, there's a lot of fear that is attached to that. And, I think that there's so much emotional layering in these situations. You have fear, you have hope, there's attachment, there's responsibility, because especially when you have a baby, because you're like, okay, this is half of me. There's some sort of responsibility that this person should also contribute, things like that. So, thinking back, thinking back, how would you say that, that fear or hope, or, even just the emotional bonds that had formed at that, early stage, how would you say that convinced you to stay longer than you should have?
I don't even know how, like, it convinced me. I feel like I was, like, I honestly, like I tell everyone, young and dumb. So.
Yeah. I mean, and again, a lot of times I think we just ignore those red flags. I think it's potential. Like, if I had to look back at a word for every relationship that I stayed in for too long, my answer to that question would be potential, because I had the tendency to see everybody's potential. So this person is mentally, physically, emotionally abusive, right? But I see their potential. If he would just stop drinking, or if he would just stop, smoking weed, or, whatever it is, he would be better. If he would just go to therapy, he would be better. So it's like, I think we see the potential in the relationship. We see the potential in the person, because it wasn't always that bad. At some point you fell in love with someone. So you see the potential in that. And so deep down, that's probably what it was. I mean, you mentioned that you were a people pleaser. I always say I suffered from the disease to please. Yeah. And so it's like, so you get caught up in a person's potential. But yet, despite all of that, whatever it was that, tried to convince you to stay longer than you should have, whatever it was in that moment, something in you still chose differently.
I think I also felt sad for him too, because like he was lonely. Like, he's lonely. Like, yeah, he has his parents, he has his sister, but like he was lonely. He was definitely lonely from his work of like where he came from. He was lonely, and then I'm lonely. Two lonely people, and I just wanted to shelter him in a way. Yeah. Like, once I got to know him, and like once he told me his story, it was like I felt like I just wanted to shelter him. I wanted to protect him. Even though he was doing all those bad things, I still wanted to protect him.
Yeah. No, trauma bonding is real. Okay? Yeah. Like, it is a real thing that I don't think gets talked about enough, because I mean, again, we meet people, we share our stories, and then our hearts immediately open up. We're empathetic to what they're going through. We think that they understand us, because we understand them. And then here we are, trauma bonded, locked in,
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I think that it's a very real thing. And I think that it's something that people kind of overlook these days as not being, something that really ties people together. And that's why you have to really be careful, when you do meet people and you share your story, especially, going forward after any sort of DV situation. When you share your story, now you have to be careful to think, okay, is this next person taking all this information so then they can condition me to do what they are going to do, and things like that. So it's no wonder we be having trust issues, right? Because I'd be like, I don't know you. Who sent you? Because you either came from heaven or hell. Who sent you? So what did it take internally or even spiritually for you to finally choose yourself and your son?
So I don't want to say too much on this situation. A situation occurred where it was like, what he did, it was like, okay, yeah, this is a wrap. After the situation did occur, I did try to, like I said, try to make it work with him still, because that's my son's dad. This is the person I had a baby with. I hope one day you can change, but I couldn't let go of what he did or forgive him for what he did.
Yeah.
So from there, it was just like, okay, we do have to separate. You have to go. Yeah. You have to leave. So that's what pushed me, like, that was the ending. Like,
yeah.
Not even I want to say the ending, because it wasn't the ending. It was more so we're definitely taking a break. Because it wasn't, I'm not gonna lie, it was not the ending. We were definitely like taking a break where, okay, we can't live in the same house anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost like it was the beginning of something different. It was the beginning of your independence.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that the hope was still there that, okay, we're going to separate or we're going to do this and then he's going to get better. It'll be better. We can be together.
Absolutely. I was like, even though he did what he did, which, he's a terrible person for what he did, I was still like, I know him. I know him I know parts of him that other people don't know. Eventually one day it's going to click. Like, I need to get myself together. I created a family.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's almost the gift and the curse of this whole situation, because we know a deeper version of them. And ultimately we know this horrible person isn't really who they are, even though in this season of life, it's who they are,
Yeah.
And so we keep hope alive. We try to, we try to pray it away. We try to wish it away.
Hold
we
on
hope
to it
away. Yeah. just hold
wishing
on.
on a star. Like, come on.
Exactly. I don't know what other song it is, but we try them all. Some Tyler Perry movie will get us through it, right?
Okay.
Like, I gotta be woman thou art loose. I gotta be delivered from something. I don't know, but we definitely try to hold on to it. And as we talked about just a second ago, people assume that leaving is the end of the story, but I think for many women, it's just the beginning. Looking back now, what has surprised you the most about healing after you walked away?
I like that question. Honestly, for me, what surprised me the most, like for myself, it's a couple of things, but I know like what really surprised me the most was I'm the type of person where it does take me a long time to let things go, and I'm an emotional person, and I will cry. I will cry for a long time. I'm talking about a long time. Yeah. So I'm just so surprised that like I'm not like chasing after my family anymore.
Yeah.
Like I'm really surprised on myself that I really like shut the door, changed the locks, and like it's not opening again. Because for me, like I tried hanging on to it and I wanted it so bad. Like, I'm really surprised. Like, now it's just like, I don't care for it. My family is me and my son, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So, like,
It's
it's
just
really surprising to know that my future doesn't involve him in it anymore.
yeah. It's just like redefining it. You know, I always attribute that as you know, when you're driving and you have your GPS on and you make a wrong turn, it doesn't say the trip is over, turn around and go home. You know, it says, okay, let me recalculate. There's some construction, let me recalculate. And it sounds like that was just your recalibration moment to say, I still have family. Family doesn't look like what I initially thought it would look like, but it also doesn't look like what it was headed to look like either. Yeah. And you know, there I think that there's a lot of trauma. You know, like when you said, oh, you would cry, that's kind of how you let the trauma out, right? Because trauma doesn't just live in our memories. I always say the body keeps score, right? Trauma lives in our body. We store that. And so, you know, when thinking about the trauma that you've experienced, how would you say that it showed up in your body or your emotions in ways that you didn't expect? Like, you know, even moments where you knew you were safe and you should have felt safe. You know, can you recall how trauma still maybe showed up for you?
A lot, actually.
Yeah.
So, like, there would be times where I'm at work with my old job. I'm at work and I'm just sitting there, and like somebody comes behind me, and I just automatically I jump or flinch. Like, I'm safe in that moment. I'm not there, you know, but I still have that, oh my goodness, someone behind me, they're going to sneak me and hit me. So it definitely showed up like that. Or if I'm in the car with someone and like all they have to do is press the gas. This is one thing I am still working on getting out of, is being in the car with people. Because with my son's dad, he would use the car as, I want to say, as a weapon. Like, he would use it as a weapon. Like, he would take off full speed, brake, hit me. So when people take off in the car, we can, you know, go at regular speed. But as soon as they take off a little bit, my heart goes to racing. I'm hanging on to whatever that thing is called. I call it the oh shit.
Yeah, that little handle.
Like, and so my heart is pounding. I'm racing. I'm getting anxiety, and I'm yelling at them to slow down.
Yeah.
So that is one thing I am still working on. Hopefully that part goes away soon, because like it's nobody else's fault. So, and I do feel bad sometimes, like I will go off, like, why are you taking off so fast? What is wrong with you? There's lights in the car.
Yeah.
So it definitely still, like I said, it shows up here and there, but
yeah. And I think that that's one of those things where people tell you, oh, it gets better with time. And it does. But they say it gets better with time. They don't say it disappears after time.
right.
I can think back, you know, I'm mid to late 40s at this point in my life now. I can think back to when I was mid 20s, when I was definitely going through my season. And there are things from that relationship that still affect me to this day. And I will say that whole it gets better with time stemmed from therapy, stemmed from my spiritual self-care being better, because now, even though I'm still triggered by certain things, sometimes it could be something that I watch that's just a little too close to home, or, you know, being a life coach, maybe it's a story that somebody shares that I might be like, ooh, me too, girl. I think for me now, the part that got better, which is the part that I pray for everybody for, is my response time to it. So like something will happen, like you said, that you grab the bar. Oh shit, right? I just pray that your calm down happens quicker, because then you're like, oh, and then, you know, sometimes we get to laugh about it. You know, I'm sure sometimes you grab that and then you laugh like, girl, this ain't that. Chill out. You know?
Yeah, I do have to give myself a little pep talk. I'm like, calm down.
Mm-hmm.
They're not him. They're not him. calm down. It's not that serious. They didn't just try to kill you.
Exactly. You're like, it's not a personal attack from everybody, girl. Calm down.
Yeah, I am still learning with that. I'm like, let me calm myself down. I'm getting worked up.
Yeah. And I mean, hopefully, when you are in the car with people, maybe being able to have a conversation, not, having to relive or go into everything. But I've learned for me that once I get into, these moments, being able to say, you know what, hey, this triggers something and we're going to get through it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not expecting you to deal with my triggers and my trauma because it's mine.
Right.
But I am asking you for compassion while I deal with my trigger and my trauma. And so I think that sometimes just being forthcoming to say, hey, I get a little nervous. So if you have one of those oh shit moments in the car, then having that conversation afterwards and be like, ooh, sorry, that's just triggering something from my past. Not that it's your fault. Just give me a minute. You know what I'm saying? Like, give me a minute to get myself together. I find that typically helps. But I think at this stage in life, when people say it gets better with time, that must be what they meant, because it doesn't disappear. It's forever there. I think we just sit with it less, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I think that, even just, I don't know, just even thinking about how the whole healing process happens, understanding that, like, healing doesn't happen in isolation. Like, I know you speak very openly on your platform about things that you've gone through, your healing journey. And so I'm sure you understand how healing doesn't just happen alone, that we get to heal out loud. And maybe you sharing your story and giving your testimony could be a blessing to someone else. You have a child, so it's already being a blessing to your child because you're showing your son in real time how healing happens. Even though sometimes we're not proud of the moments. I can think when my son was young, there was a lot of moments that I wasn't necessarily proud that he witnessed or but being able to show him like, hey, we got back up though. We didn't stay knocked down. And so how has your healing journey shaped the way that you show up now as a mother?
I'm definitely I'm very like lenient. I feel so sad for my son for the stuff he had to witness. So I'm very like, I give him whatever. I don't really discipline, like not even like discipline, like spanking. Like I do more of like redirecting. That really, honestly, it doesn't work, but I feel like he deserves a calmer life than what he saw.
Yeah.
He doesn't deserve a mom that's gonna like. He doesn't deserve a mom who's honestly always crying, who's never happy. So I definitely try to show up for him in different ways. I try to make sure I go all out for him. I fill the void in, and I try to like. For him, I didn't really realize, because he's 3, but he's very smart.
But no, I think what you were explaining kind of makes perfect sense. Again, just sharing part of my story. When I adopted my son when he was 2 years old, and so the first 2 years of his life prior to me were very traumatic. There were a lot of things that took place for him, and so I showed up with that mentality. Before I even had my own, situations thereafter, I showed up with that mentality that you mentioned of, oh my God, he's just a baby. He didn't deserve this. Yeah. Let me give him everything. Let me spoil him and just let me love you and all of that. And so I do, empathize and understand where you're coming from. And I want to say, that shows awareness, because again, you're very aware of the things that your son witnessed. And it just, to me, it just shows how much your love for him is shaped in how you're showing up and healing for him. It's like you want to heal and you want to be better for him. And like, it's for you, but it's for him. And so,
I can't be a good mom if I'm just sitting around crying. And like, he was like, I really realized like, oh, this like being depressed thing has to go, because even when people would come to my house, he'd be like, he would go up to mommy crying. I'm like, oh my goodness, hold on.
You're like, wait a minute.
You're telling them my business. Calm that down.
Yeah. So, I mean, even just sitting in that moment as a mom, how do you currently balance the desire to make up for the things that he's witnessed and still give yourself grace to heal too?
I try to give myself a little time, a little space.
Yeah. And maybe that's still, like we said in the beginning, maybe that's still real time, right? That this is where you are
definitely
actively.
Still real time.
Yeah. So you're finding grace, in that. And then maybe just, instead of that even being a question, maybe that just being a statement to you to remind you, I do understand that you want to make up for things, but a reminder for you to give yourself grace because you're healing too. It's one of those things where when they say you can't pour from an empty cup, right?
Yeah.
Or if the plane is going down, you have to put the mask on you. And so as a mom, you're thinking, my baby is sitting right here in the seat next to me. Your first instinct as a mom is to want to put the mask on him. But if you do that, and then you didn't have time to put it on you, like, how are you going to help him?
Yeah,
how are you going to be?
I do say that a lot. I'm like, I tell people that I can't be a good mom if I'm not taking care of myself.
Yeah.
In order to be a good mom, you do have to put yourself first. You have to take care of you first because you're your child's resource. They rely on you.
Yeah. And so thinking about, when you said that you want your son to have a quieter life, right? What does quiet mean to you now? And how are you intentionally creating that kind of peace in your home?
For now, he has a quieter life. For him, I love it for us, because before, nonstop arguing, are you hearing this yelling, screaming, bickering, fighting? And now, like, he does have that quiet life where he gets to come home and he gets to relax. And there's nobody screaming, there's nobody yelling. He gets to do what he wants with no problems. Like, he does have that quieter life. Like, when he comes home, this is his safe space. I have what they call like a living room baby. He doesn't go to his room. Like, he's out free and roaming.
Yeah. And I mean, and that's amazing that you created that, that you did that, because again, I think that a lot of times when we have young children who are witnessing things, they're trapped in their room because that's the only place that is safe for them in that moment to not see or maybe hear a little less. And so now that he does have that freedom, I know that has to feel good for you, because you're like, I did that. Yeah. Seeing them run around and be happy, I think is just the reward for putting ourselves first. Because I mean, ultimately in the relationship, I know that your son played a big part in why you chose to break away. But most importantly, it was you putting you first, making the decision to say no more, like, we're not doing this. And, after talking to you, I know that faith played a lot in this and a lot in what you do now. I think that for many of us, faith often becomes either a lifeline or a wrestling match in seasons like this. Because some of us don't really hear the message at first and we try to argue or wrestle with God on what we're supposed to do next. So in your situation, how did your relationship with God change during or after this experience?
Definitely after the experience. I feel like it definitely pushed me to where I needed to, like, I had to run to him. Mm-hmm. I had to run to him. Like, it put me in like I feel like a season of sadness. Like I had where it left me were like, I always tell people when God gives you something, you have to cherish it. You have to treat it right. And most of all, you have to keep God in that with you. And when you don't, sometimes he has to snatch it back to snatch it from you in order to realize what you had. So I feel like once that fully was gone, like it brought me closer to him. Because like my past relationship, he didn't believe in God. He believed in like the moon, the stars, and
Yeah.
whatever they got going on up there. Whatever the stars and stuff is, that's what he believed. So it's like I couldn't really talk about God with him. I couldn't read the Bible with him. Like that, like he would use God as a way of like disrespecting me. Like he would be like, F the Lord or stuff like that. You know, something to trigger me in that way. So it definitely allowed me, like afterwards, it allowed me to start building the relationship I want to build with him. So it actually feels really good, like, you know, being able to go to church and talk about God in general. Like,
Yeah.
it feels nice. I don't have someone, you know, judging me on my beliefs.
No, absolutely. I mean, when you get to love out loud, you know, with any relationship, with any situation, it's hard when you have to have that quiet love where it's like a secret. And you know, when it comes to our faith, I always think, you know, when I was hiding my love for God, I always think about, you know, the scripture where it says, you know, if you deny him, you know, in front of people. And then I'm like, ooh, so I was always like stuck, like I am sinning. And this is the worst kind of sin that there is because I am denying my love for God and he has never denied me. So if I keep denying him, I'm going to get to the gates and he's going to be like, go bye, you know? Right. So yeah, I know about that quiet love, but, again, it's the potential, it's the wishing, it's the, if I go to God and I be good enough, then I can bring him in with me, or I can, you know, I can pray this away. And it doesn't work like that. It could, but it could. That reminds me of my favorite story in the Bible, about Abigail and Nabal. I don't know if you're familiar, but like that story is actually what got me to walk away from my situation. And just to kind of paraphrase, you know, the story, Nabal was a fool. Like literally Nabal means the fool. And so he was just mean and nasty and irresponsible and all the things we don't want. Okay. And so with his wife, Abigail, he was just so nasty to her. So there was a point where Nabal was away, and he was being threatened by people. And so he was trying to get King David to spare him, to provide him with security, basically. And so he made promises to give the king all of these things. And so the king provided protection. Everything was fine. Nabal gets back home and does not immediately rush to get these things together that he's supposed to pay for his security that he had. And so his wife gets wind of what he did, and Nabal's just partying, kicking it, whatever. So his wife is like, are you crazy? So, you know, she runs around and she's going and getting all of these things. Well, the king shows up and now he's ready to kill Nabal for not being a man of his word. And she runs out and basically she's like, no, here's everything. Like, please forgive my husband. He's a fool, you know, whatever. Cause she still sees the potential, right? So she's like, forgive him. So the king's like, I'm going to spare him. So they go on about living. She's still trying to have conversations with him about how he is, what just happened. He's like, I don't want to hear it. He's still nasty to her. So he goes to bed. He wakes up and he's paralyzed. He can still hear, he can still see, but he cannot move. So his wife, she keeps being a good wife. She serves him and he's just still nasty and mean to her. Go to bed. Next day you wake up, he can't talk. So he's paralyzed. He can't talk, you know, so it's like each day, God takes something away from him, trying to get him to be still enough to hear his wife. And every night when she walks away, she's praying, you know, so she's like, please help him, please, you know, fix him, whatever. And God is trying. And so he keeps going like this, and Nabal never gets it. So Jesus smote him, right? Killed him. Like, he cannot be here anymore. And so, you know, when you think about marriage, they say till death do us part. Well, he got taken out. So now she's free, right? It's not divorced. She's free. And so the king hears about what happens and he comes back to marry her. So now she's a queen. You know what I mean? So it's like she stayed true. So I don't know. For me, that story changed things for me. And it's funny because my ex, he was not a believer either. Like that fool had said to me, well, I give life and I can take life too. So then I should be a God. And I was like, I know you lying.
Okay, what is wrong with you?
That's when I started knowing I really needed to get away. But I can remember a time we actually were in church. We went to go see our godsons sing at church. That's the only reason why he was there. And that particular sermon was what my pastor preached that day. And so the whole time I am side-eyeing him like, oh, because Jesus about to smote you. And like it gave me like this new courage. And I was like, okay. So it was just like that scripture and like almost rejuvenated my faith, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I always tell people that story. And I'm like, if I don't know nothing else in the Bible, I'm going to talk about Abigail and Nabal, because that's a game changer for somebody who is staying faithful or trapped in a trauma bond or just a toxic relationship. And I think that, you know, that's just a reminder that faith often shifts in the quiet. Because he had no idea what was brewing in me, you know, and I'm sure when you ran to God, nobody else around you knew what God was working on. You know what I mean? I think God does some pretty unexpected things for us after trauma. Were there moments where your faith felt strained or questioned, maybe different than before, you know, after you went through this?
Yeah. But it was more so like, Lord, when is karma going to get them? What is going on? Why is, because if, like I tell people, like, if this was somebody I dated and I could just never look back on, cool. But this is someone I have a kid with, so we had to talk. Now I have boundaries. You can't talk to me. It's a privilege to speak to me, but you're welcome to see your child. But before, it was just like all the mean things he was doing, allowing someone to stalk me to the point where I had to delete my Facebook account. Like I had to get off social media. It was just to the point where I was just like, Lord, like, come on, like, where's my vengeance? Like,
right.
What is going on? Why are these people still allowed to bully me, to antagonize me, to attack me? I'm out of the relationship, but I'm still being tormented. Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
So at that time, I was questioning, like, oh my goodness, like, should I keep talking to you, God? Like,
yeah,
these people are still, like, you know, a big bother.
Yeah.
But I had to realize, like, vengeance comes in different ways. Vengeance comes in different ways. I'm waiting for something traumatic to happen to someone, which is horrible, y'all. I'm like, I may be laughing, but
yeah,
that is horrible. I'm waiting for like a life or death situation to happen to this person, when in reality, like, vengeance is just me moving on with life, me not looking back, me paying them dust, paying them dust. Like I said, it's a privilege to speak to me, and you do not have that privilege. So that there's the vengeance right there. You'll never be able to be in my presence. You'll never be able to talk to me again.
Absolutely. What does Beyonce say? The best revenge sometimes is just going and getting your paper, right? Just living your life on your terms. Yes. Yeah. So what did it look like for you in that season, you know, to be honest with God during that season, even when you didn't have the right words? Because you're over there like, is this mic on? Like, do you not hear me? Like, what did that look like?
It looked ugly, honestly. Like, at that time, I was just crying uncontrollably. Like, even at work, it was so bad. Even at work, like, I'm just crying. It looked horrible, but I can say, like, I understand now why it had to play out the way it did. Like, I 100% understand why I went through what I went through. Because, like, God didn't put me in that relationship. He gave me free will. He gave me multiple times where I could have left and walked away. There was times where we did separate, and those are the times where I could have just closed the door for good, and I didn't. So my free will allowed me to stay in a horrible situation. But he snatched me right out. When he's seen, like, everything in closed doors, the conversations I couldn't hear, he immediately pulled me away from that. So I can't say I am grateful for that. I understand why it had to play out the way it did in order for me to grow, to be the person I need to be.
Yeah. And I think that there's something so amazing in knowing that no matter what we go through in life, God still covers us. You know, even when we think that this is just the worst, we're still covered. You know, he still keeps us. And, you know, the other thing too about growth is growth often requires a release. Like in order for us to grow through something, we have to be willing to let something go. And, you know, that release is not just from other people. Sometimes I think it's own versions of ourselves. What parts of who you were did you have to let go of in order to become who God is calling you to be today?
I had to let go of, like I told you, like people pleasing. People, like I'm one of those. I had to let that go. I had to let go of that. I can fix them mentality. I cannot fix them. They have to want to fix themselves. You know? So it was a lot of things I had to fix, honestly. Like a lot of things that had to change within me in order to get where I'm at now. I have to stop looking at everyone's sad story, because no offense, like we all got a sad story. I have to stop, you know, latching onto that and wanting to help them. I can't help everyone. So as of right now, I'm definitely having very, very strict boundaries. It feels different. I can say it definitely feels different because like it comes off as rude, but it's not rude. I'm allowed to have boundaries. I'm allowed to say no. I do not have to please everyone. If that makes sense. Like I don't have to please everyone anymore. Like this is my life. I'm gonna do what makes me happy. And if your issue or whatever you got going on is affecting that, then I do need to take a step back. I do need to walk away. I do need to, you know, regroup.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we look at who you are now, right? Because obviously this is just a piece. This is just a chapter in your story. It's just like, who would you say you are now? Like even thinking about like the content you're creating and knowing that you're still evolving. You know, for someone who comes up and meets you now, obviously you're not like, oh, I'm, you know, I survived this and I've done this. Like you just dump all that on them, right? So for people meeting you, obviously our Room to Breathe family, right? For the first time, tell them, you know, who you are now, like what your content is about now, in this chapter of your life.
I feel like who I am now, I'm stronger, I'm happier, I'm funny. That's a big perk. I'm really funny. I can crack jokes on anything, especially on any situation. Mm-hmm. For my content, I just try to show a little bit more of in my life. I am getting back into like cooking. I'm like, once everything happened, like, and everything ended and it was so ugly, I stopped wanting to cook. I stopped a lot of things that I loved, and cooking was literally one of the main, like, big things. I love cooking for people. I feel like I just love it because first of all, I know how to cook. So I'm getting right. So now I'm posting way more content on me cooking. So I'm loving that. When I go live, I don't go live as often as I should, but when I do go live, like, they get to see a happier person. You know, they don't see that broken girl that I was. You know, they see someone who, like, because of course, posting your business on the internet, like, you're gonna get backlash on it. People are probably gonna be like, this girl is a mess. Get it together, girl. What you crying on TikTok for?
Right.
So I feel like they got to see, like, I'm not that broken girl. You know, I'm funny. I'm outgoing. I'm great. So I feel good about that.
Yeah, and you should. What's something about this season of your life right now that genuinely makes you smile? Like, I'm talking about something so simple, but so meaningful to you.
For me, for this season, it's just getting up and going. Like, getting up and going. Like, that is simple. Like, everyone can do it, but it's like, to know me is to know I'm a person that feels deeply. So it's like I will be in depression for a long time. So knowing that I beat that and I'm getting up and going, it feels so good. Like every day, like even going to work, like they'll tell you I'm like one of the happiest medical assistants there. I'm always in a good mood. I'm always making everyone laugh, even when there's tension.
Yeah. No, and we totally need people like that, because there's so many people who show up to work miserable every day, and I'm like, why do you keep coming back if you don't like it here?
Right. Like, what you here for? Go home, take a nap.
Yeah, exactly. Like, do you need a hug?
I'll give you one. Come on.
Exactly. You said, bring it in. Let me love you. So I know that when we looked at that past chapter, that was our roller coaster. If you could describe this chapter of your life right now in one word or phrase, what would it be and why?
Free. I would describe it as free, because I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
I can do whatever I want. There's no one controlling it. There's no one criticizing it. Like I can just do what I want. Like there's nobody controlling me anymore. I'm able to do what I want and not care.
Yeah. So what's one thing that you're currently learning to enjoy now without guilt?
Taking care of myself. I'm allowed to take care of me.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to take care of me. I'm allowed to buy myself something nice. And I started doing that. I always, if I get in like a funk or anything, I buy myself a "you'll be okay" gift. Because you're going to be okay.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's what self-care is all about. Just, forgetting that chapter or whatever, just being a mom today, right? It's hard for us to sometimes remember to prioritize our needs because we're so busy putting our kids ahead of us. Or if you're in a relationship, you have a husband, things like that, like you're so busy putting your partner, your children, all that in the front. And so we still fall to the background. So I love that you're in this season of me too, like me first. And then I got you. Like, let mommy take care of herself for a second. And then baby, I got you, And so, looking at that, because now, like you said, your self-care is improving. What are some of the things that you like to do for yourself? Like if you're having a low vibrational day, what are some hobbies that you have? Or I don't know, maybe it's a playlist. What type of things really kind of get you out of that funk now?
So what gets me out of my funk is either, like you said, I'll buy myself a "you'll be okay" gift. And then I take my baby too, because boo, you're gonna be okay too. Let's get you something.
Yes, exactly.
Or I like to play music out loud. Doesn't matter the playlist. I put my speaker on. It has like the lights, and me and my son have a dance party.
Period. We're so alike, because I'm telling you, we had so many dance parties when my son was growing up. Anytime I was sad about anything, girl, we came home and turned that Xbox on, and we was up dancing. I had every dance game. But yeah, it's something about music, right? Like you said, it doesn't matter the playlist. But yeah, and I like the whole idea of the "you'll be okay" gifts. I think that I'm in that season of me now where it's like, if I feel something or whatever, I'm like, I could tell my husband or mention it to somebody, but I'm like, I could just buy it myself. So I think I do my own. It's going to be okay.
Right. Like, you're going to be okay. Yeah. It's fine. You're okay. Yeah. It's just a moment. It's literally just a moment. And I always love to tell myself, like, this is not going to matter literally in a month.
So I guess before we close, I want to speak directly to, other young women who are listening to this, who may recognize pieces of herself in your story. So thinking about someone who may be currently going through all the things that you've survived thus far, what would you want her to know about healing and faith and starting over, especially if she is in a current season of feeling afraid or unsure about what comes next?
I would say, honestly, it's so scary. It's truly scary to walk away from something you're so familiar with, but you have to take that next step. And just to remind yourself that you're not those mean names they called you. You're not worthless. You're not ugly. You're none of that. You have so much potential. Don't allow that one person to hold you back. And like I say, don't let that one person stop you from finding your husband. Are you crazy? Like,
Right.
don't hang on to that. Do not ignore the red flags for sure. If they're talking to you in that type of way or they're touching you in that type of way, they do not care about you. You need to walk away and you need to put you first. You can't, even if you don't leave, how can you be with somebody who treats you like that? You have to love yourself first. And you can't be with someone when you don't love yourself. Because they're going to see that and they're going to take that to a full advantage. And you got to let them know this is not an ice skating ring, boo. You cannot take the skates off.
Yeah.
Can't even run over here.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's just such a good reminder when you said just kind of focus on that next step. I think so often we see the whole staircase and we get intimidated by it. And so if you don't focus on the whole staircase, if you don't focus on having it all figured out, you just take that first step to liberate yourself from the situation, whatever that means, for your story. I think that's what that's what counts the most.
Yes. And I definitely want to add, run to God, because the doors that he will open for you, some doors, he gonna close them. He gonna close them. Ouch, it hurts. But the doors that open after that it's so amazing. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's so amazing. It's so refreshing. And it's amazing to have a relationship with him. And just to say, when I mean God, I mean Jesus Christ. I mean, a lot of people have different gods. So I'm just telling you what God I go to. But it's so refreshing and it's so nice. And he doesn't care how you are. He's not judging you. He just wants the best for you. And he's going to lead you in that right way. And some people have to leave in order for you to move to that next chapter. He can't give you a blessing when you're surrounded by people that he knows is going to help you fumble it. So he has to move those people out the way, get you by yourself, a season of isolation, and it is lonely. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. It's like 40 days, 40 nights.
Yeah.
You're gonna be sad, but the door that opens with it is absolutely amazing. I'm also gonna add, definitely fast and read your Bible. You don't have to go to church, because a lot of people don't like to go to church. That's fine. You can do church in your home. You could, church wherever you want to do it at.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head. Like I always tell people, Jesus and therapy. They're like, how did you get through it? Jesus and therapy. It'll get you through everything. But I do want to take this opportunity to just thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for taking time out of your day. And just honestly showing up, speaking your truth. Is anyone who wants to maybe follow your story or reach out, how can they connect with you?
Through my TikTok, Annette Perfect. That's ANNETTEPERFECT. Or I guess through my Instagram too, same name, but it's Annette.perfect.
Absolutely. And guys, I do encourage you, just, follow follow her and, just kind of tap in, give her some encouragement or go there and get some encouragement. Sis always be having a word. So, yeah.
Yeah. And in the mornings, I haven't posted recently of it, but in the mornings, I like to do little Bible quotes of the day and get that out and give them the meaning, So if you do want to get closer to God and you want to be my friend, you know where to message me at.
Exactly. Well, again, thank you so much for being here. I know that you need to run mommy duties, so I definitely respect that. And I really just thank you, so much for your time today. Before we close, I just want to pause with you for just a moment. If anything in today's conversation stirred something in you, maybe memories, emotions, or even quiet questions you haven't had the words for yet, I want you to know that there is nothing wrong with you. Healing doesn't move in a straight line, and awareness can sometimes feel heavy before it feels freeing. So in this moment, just take a breath. Inhale slowly, exhale gently. What Annette shared today wasn't about reliving pain. It was about honoring the courage that it takes to let go of who you had to be to survive, so that way you can become who God is calling you to be. If you recognized yourself in any part of her story, let this be a reminder that you are not weak. For needing time, support, or rest. You are human and healing. Please take care of yourself after this episode. Drink some water, step outside and get some sun if you can, or maybe something as simple as journaling, praying, or just sitting in the stillness. And if this conversation brought up more than you expected it to, reach out for support and understand that reaching out is not failure, it's wisdom. You don't have to rush your healing. You don't have to explain your boundaries, and you don't have to carry this alone. Here in the Room to Breathe community, we believe that survival is not the end of the story, becoming is. So before we part ways, let me leave you all with just a little love and light. As always, I encourage you to keep breathing through the highs, the lows, and every moment in between. I encourage you to keep choosing peace, even if it feels out of reach. And to know that here at the Self-Care Club, you will always be seen, always valued, and always supported. So don't be afraid to take up space, speak your truth, and make a little room for you to breathe. I love each and every one of you to life, and I am praying that your day is not just amazing, but aligned, intentional, and yes, on purpose, filled with purpose. This has been another Room to Breathe podcast, and I cannot wait to connect with you all again soon. Thank you.
Me, I found my